Welcome to Sewing with Tomorrow. I'm happy that you are here, and if it's your first time here, thank you for joining my classes. Now, in today's classes, what we'll be doing this simple Vogue pattern dress. Now, this is a dress I really love, and I really want to sew this dress. The first time I sew it, it was a very nice dress, and I want to do it in a different color. So since that you are here and you want to see how to sew this dress, let's get started. And I want to say thank you, and I hope you enjoy this tutorial. So before long ado, let's get started in the tools and the accessories, the fabric and the pattern that you will need to sew this class. So let's get started now. So let's start tools what you would need for sewing this dress. Now the first thing you would need your pattern. Now I am using this pattern, this fold pattern, which is fold 1236. Now this is a pattern, it come in various size. I have the size 16 through 24, so it come in size 16, 18, 20, 22 through 24. So whatever size you is, you will need to choose your size and cut out your fabric. So the first thing we will need this fold pattern. You would need the fold pattern. You would need some fabric. Of course, this fabric that I have here is ordinary sheeting fabric that I am using, which is a light polyester fabric. And I love using sheeting fabric because it's a white fabric. They have some come in the 90 inches and some come in the 120 inches. So I am using these two fabric, which I'll be doing this dress with. Now you would need a chalk roller, some chalk to mark your fabric. You would need a paper scissors, thread cutter scissors. You would need a fabric scissors. You would need some pins. So this is what you will need to cut out your fabric, your pattern. So now we will put this aside, and now we will go into the actual pattern pieces what you would need to cut out your dress. So you would need pattern piece number 5. This is the back lining. It says cut 1 on fold and interfacing cut 1 on a fold. So you would need pattern piece number 5. You would also need pattern piece number 4, which this is the front facing. Cut 1 fabric on fold and cut 1 interfacing on a fold. So you would need pattern piece number 4. You would need pattern piece number 2, which is the pocket. It's a cut 4 pieces. You would also need pattern piece number 1, which is the front of the dress. Cut 1 on fold. You would need pattern piece number 3, which is the dress back. It's a cut 1 on fold. So these is the pieces you would need to cut out your for your fabric. So let's get into cutting out this dress. Place the fabric, the pattern on the fabric, and let's cut it out. So the first thing we'll do, we'll grab our fabric and we'll open up our fabric so that we can cut out this dress. So I have my fabric lay. Now we will put this fabric on the salvage. Now my fabric will be folded in 2 pieces, right? So this is my fabric, it fold in 2. So you open your fabric and you fold it in 2. Fold your fabric in 2, and you make sure your fabric line up okay. Spread it out neat. Make sure your fabric smooth and neat. Now you're gonna get the bigger piece of the pattern, and we're gonna cut this out on a fold. Now I'll cut out the front piece because I have to cut 2 back because I do not have enough to cut it on a fold. So I'm going to use this pattern piece, which is the pattern piece number 1, which is the front. Now in this case of this pattern, you cut out the size of the pattern that you need. In this case, this pattern come from 16 to 24. Now I am using a size 16, but I need to grade my own to the 24 to get the 20, size 20, to get the hip measurement. But I'm going to cut this out first on my fabric before I cut out the pattern piece, because I don't want to spoil the rest of the size just in case I have to sew this to someone else. So I'm going to lay my front pieces this way, and I'm going to get some pattern weight. Now I have some ordinary washer here, what I picked up from my local fabric store, which is these, and these is the 2 inches washer that I picked up from my local hardware store. There is place that sell pipe fitting and so on. I picked up these 2-inch washers from them, so you can get this instead of using pin. So I'm going to place this right here on my pattern. I'm going to place this on the pattern. Make sure your pattern on the fold. I'm going to place this, and then I'm going to cut out this using my fabric scissors. So I'm going to cut this. Take your time, and you want to cut long strokes. And I'm going to cut. I'm going to cut. Now this pattern piece, if you notice, it fitting her above her knee. Now I don't like my dress so short, so I need my own about 4 inches under my knee. So I'm going to extend my extend this pattern to give me that. So what I would do, let me slant the camera. This extra piece of fabric here, that's why I told you to get your chalk roller, and also we're gonna get a ruler also. So get your chalk roller, get a ruler, and we're gonna extend this pattern. So I need about 4 inches down. So I'm going to place 4. Let me see how much inches this have. Let's see. Let's do 6 inches down, because we have to fold this. So I'm going to do 6 inches down, because I don't need my thing too short, my dress too short. So I'm going to extend this 6 inches down. So we extending this 6 inches down. 6 inches down. And I'm going to extend that, and I'm going to draw this in 6 inches now. I'm using size 20, so I don't need to go all there, but I'm going to try it in still. Size 6 inches down, and I'm going to connect that line. Connect that line, and this already connects, so we're going to connect these line here, and we're going to cutting on the line that we connect. I don't like my dress too short. And we're going to connect that. So now I'm going to get my pins, and I'm going to hold this down on the fabric so that it won't move when I'm ready to cut out. So you're holding it down. Hold it down on the fabric. Remove these. Remove these. Now I'm going to show you how I separate, how I keep my extra pattern sizes. I'm going to show you how I keep that. What I did, I get a piece of paper, the dressmaker carbon sheet, and I trace it out so I can see what you need. So I'm going to show you. what the carbon sheet look like, and you get piece of that. So I get piece of this carbon sheet. I have this serial carbon sheet paper, so I would get a piece of that, open it, and I would cut a piece with it. I would cut a piece of it about this. This is the serial carbon sheet paper, and this is a very long transparent dressmaker tracing paper, and I'm going to use that. So I'm going to take that now, and I'm going to put this under like this. Remove your pin, and I'm going to put this under like this, and now I'll cut the size that I'll be needing. So I need size 16, which is here. So when I reach to the waist, I would grade it out. I would get a ruler, get your curve rule if you have a curve rule. That's only if you using the smaller size pattern. So you'll get your cord rule, seeing that you don't grade it out from the 16, and you'll get your cord rule. I need 20, but I'll grade it to 22. So from here, it shows you that that's the waistline. So I'm going to start grading to 20. And I grade that out. Grade that out. Now I'll get my straight ruler, and I would continue the grading out. So I put that down. So if you can see, the carbon sheet was placed wrong. Sorry about that. So I turn that over back, and I'm going to grade this. So I'll get back my ruler, and I'm going to grade this back out to the size that I need. So when you raise that up now, you see the line coming my way. So I'm going to get my straight ruler now, and I'm going to grade this straight down. Straight down, I'm going to grade that. Continue the line so we can see it to cut. Now I'm going to get this, and I'm going to place it by the armhole. Under the armhole, all with the bigger sizes, because I don't need the bigger size. So I'm going to get that, and I'm going to place the carbon sheet under, get the tracing wheel, and we're going to trace out the size that we need, size 16. Trace it out. Now we have to put our markings, where to hook up these markings. I like to put all my markings, so I will know that it's size 16. Make sure you put your marking, because we have to put the pocket. So you have to put your marking. You come down. Make sure you put your markings. Get all your markings. Then you come. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna fold this paper here. We're gonna put this paper like this. it here so we can mark the split in front. Remove your pins, and what we're gonna do, fold back this paper like this. Fold it back like that. Fold that back like this so we can mark our pleat. So we can mark our pleat. You're gonna get your tracing wheel. Make sure you mark your notches. Mark here. Mark the big circle, small circle, and then you mark the arrow where the pleat have to go. You do the same thing for the rest. Big arrow, small arrow. Make sure you mark out all your pleats them. Mark the arrows, the big circle and the small circle. Make sure this line up right to the edge of the fabric. Make sure you have that right. Straighten your fabric so that you can get the edge of the fabric. Pull this in so you can see the edge of the fabric. You don't want it to go enough. And then you mark. You mark. Mark with the arrow going. Big circle, small circle. So that's how you mark it, and when you're done now, you can remove this. But before we remove that, you see we have all these marking it. You have to transfer it to the next side of this fabric. So let's transfer that. Same thing. So now we're gonna remove this. And now you can remove the pattern, and now we're gonna cut out what we don't want. So I need to cut out what I don't want. I'm gonna cut out from the top here. Make sure it's even. Cut there. So I'll get my size. And I would come and I would cut down. So you don't want to waste your rest of pattern pieces, because you never know. Might have to sew that for some family member or someone else. So you don't want to be buying the same set of pattern twice. And that's how I get my pattern piece that I need. Now I'm going to put this back. Pin this back on the pattern. Fold this piece. Put it aside. I'm going to move all these here. So if you don't have enough fabric like me to cut your roll on the fold, that's why I like to use the sheeting. I'm going to take half piece of this sheeting here, which I'm going to clip off a piece. Take that piece off and I will show you what to do. Now seeing that you take that piece off, we have a piece lie down here because it's two pieces we had. So now we're gonna fold this back like this in two. Fold that in two, like that. Fold that in two like that. Don't waste any fabric. Make sure it fold okay. Get the side that have all the uneven cut, face it up facing you so you can see where to lay your fabric. So we're going to lay that down. We're going to pull this back a little like that. Now get your pattern piece and let's see if it can fit onto this fabric that we folded. Let me see if we can get two pieces. Well, remember I am only cutting the size 16 in the top and the 20 or the 22 in the bottom. So I will get enough here. So what I will do, I will place my pattern width onto my fabric so that I can cut it on a fold. Place that down. If you are using the bigger size, you don't have to cut out any size because the pattern come in that size, in your size. So the pattern come bigger than my size, so I need to cut it down. But I'm not wasting my rest of pattern piece. I'll cut out the bigger piece and then trace it off and get a piece that the size that I need. So you hold your fabric down. Hold your pattern piece down on your fabric and you're cutting that out. Remember, we have to extend this. So don't forget that we have to extend. So now we will pull this up and we will get the 6 inches that we need. So you'll get your ruler, get your chalk ruler, and we extending this 6 inches down. We extending this 6 inches. So you will get your ruler and look for 6 inches on your ruler, and let's extend this 6 inches down. So we're looking for 6 inches. Make sure everything neat and nice. Don't want your thing to be crooked. 6 inches. And I will connect that. 6 inches we looking at. And now we're gonna cut this out. Now we're gonna rest this aside. You'll go ahead and cut out the size that you need, like how I show you the first piece how we cut it out. Now you will get the smaller piece. We need to cut 4 pockets. So seeing that we have this piece here, let's see if it could fit on here, where we can get the 4 pockets. No, it can't fit. So we'll get our extra piece of fabric that we have here. We'll get our extra piece of fabric. We'll put this up, move this aside, get our extra piece of fabric. And we will lay this down like that. Fold it the same way as how we fold that. Even it. We'll lay that down, and the first piece we're gonna cut out, the front, the bigger piece, which is the back on a fold. We have to cut that on a fold. Remember, I'm using the size 16, so 24 gonna be too big for me. If you're using 24, you get your fabric and measure it. So we're using size. So I don't need all that. Pin. You would get this other piece. This is the front, and we have to lay this on a fold as well. And I turn my pattern piece because I want it going the same direction. And I'm going to cut this. I'm seeing that this fabric can have no pattern on it. You can cut this in any direction you need. You can flip it like this because this don't have no floral, no stripe, no plaid, anything on it. So you can cut this anywhere, but just make sure you put it on a fold for the fabric. That's why I use a plain fabric with this. Put it on a fold. And now we're gonna cut this out. Let's bring this in a little more. We don't want to waste any fabric because we have to get some fabric. We're gonna cut that out. Place that on the fold. So to save fabric, you will bring it as close as ever to the back pattern piece so that you can save your fabric. And we have to cut out the pocket still. So you're going to cut around here, the neckline. Pull back my pin a little. Cut out this piece, we're going to place that there. We're going to cut the rest of the pieces. Cut. Pull your fabric up. I'm going to cut that, rest out. And now we're going to go and cut the pocket. Now to cut the pocket, we have two pieces here already. So what we're going to do, we're going to fold this like this. Let's see if we can get straight this off properly, so that when we cut our pocket, it would be neat. But fold it like this, and then we're gonna get our pocket, and we're gonna place our pocket. We're gonna get this ruler, and we're gonna look for a green line on the pocket. So we're gonna match up this green line so that the pocket could sit down straight. We're gonna make this 6 there. Gonna get your pattern width, place 1 here, and we're gonna make sure this is 6 as well. Bring this down a little, 6, and we're gonna cut this out. So we'll cut in 4 pieces of pocket here. Cut it out. piece pocket. So you know where to stop. Mark your pocket. So you're supposed to have 4 pieces of pocket there when you finish cut this out. So let's remove this and see how much pocket we have. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're gonna pin this until we're ready for this. So we have these. So these is the pieces we will need to cut that out. Now we're gonna remove this. So remember, this is the pattern that we're doing. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna cut our interfacing because the pattern say we have to cut interfacing. So I'm using a lightweight interfacing here, which we call it pylons. I don't know what y'all call it, but this is a lightweight interfacing I'm using here. So we need to cut out some of these. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my pattern piece, the piece that require interfacing, and I'm going to cut this out. So piece number 5 need interfacing. So I'm going to cut out interfacing. I'm going to use this pattern piece because it already cut out to my size. So I'm going to use this to cut the interfacing, and I'm going to place this here. Piece number 4 require interfacing. So I'm going to use the pattern piece that I already cut out to suit me to cut out my facing. So I'm going to use that. Bring this up a little more. And you're going to place this on a fold. Now my interfacing, it's fold in 2 pieces. So when I cut, I will get a whole piece. So we will cut this on a fold. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut this. Hold this the same with the pin. Now we're going to fold back our interfacing. And we're going to go and iron on this interfacing on this pattern piece. So get the pattern piece that require iron on. Now I have a small ironing board here which I'll be using, which is this here. I have this small ironing board. I have my iron heated. Now I'm going to open this, and on the wrong side of this, which is this side, I'm going to place this onto the ironing board like this. I'm going to open this as well, and you have the rough side. This is the rough side of the interfacing. This is the smooth side. So you'll take the rough side and you will place it onto the pattern, onto the fabric. Place it neat. Make sure it line up okay. And we're gonna press this. So we're pressing this like this. Not like this, we're rubbing it. Press it. And put some cement. So to limit, I think I press designs. Just make sure the iron is on. You get a lot of lines. I don't want it to stay on flat. And you can start pressing. I don't want the iron to press. So see what it will stay. We finish this on the rest side. Grab the next piece and do the same thing to the next piece. Open it on the wrong side. Grab this piece. And the body side, the rough side, you can place it on the wrong side and cover. Go from the body side. Take one the iron piece of it. And make sure the rough side is lying flat on the fabric. And hold it and we're going to press. Same. Just a minute. Hold it please. Press. Use your hand to press it and not rub it. Press it. And you press that. And to pull. And remove this. Give this side a couple. And now it's time for us to fit up this dress. So we will go now and we will fit up the pockets. So now we're gonna pin our dress up. So the first thing we're gonna need is pattern piece number 1. You'll get pattern piece number 1. We're gonna remove it. We're gonna open pattern piece number 1, which is the front of the dress. And now we're gonna pin all these pieces together. Right, we're gonna pin these pieces together. And now we're gonna get, this is the first pleat that we have here. So it takes small circle and we bring it to big circle. So we're gonna pin that. Remember, we mark out the circles, them we mark out the circles when we was doing the pattern. Remember, we mark out all the front piece marking and we was cutting out the pattern. So you're gonna bring all the small circles together. Bringing them together. So we pleat in the front of this dress. So we have two pleats very close to each other. So you're going to carry it and you're going to pleat it to the next one. Very, very close. So we're going to pleat it. Then we're going to bring the next one. This is the front piece we're working on. Only the front piece have pleats. Continue pleating. Pleat this one. And then the last one, we're pleating it too as well. We have to go to the sewing machine and stitch right across here to hold these pleats in place. But before we do that, we're going to put on our pocket and make one go into the sewing machine. So we're going to get our pocket, one piece, which is pocket piece number 2. This is pattern piece number 2, which is the pocket. We're going to remove the, remember we cut 4 of that. So we're going to get 2 pieces and you're going to take 1 piece. Now this section here, the knot section, is what going to face the dress of the pocket. So we're going to get, we have a first notch, you have the circle, and you have a next notch here. Because if you notice on the pattern piece of itself, we have some notches in between. You have, this is the 2 section for the pocket, this for the pocket piece. This is where the pocket piece, you see we have some circle on this dress here. So the pocket piece would be going here, right between these notches here. So let's fit that up. So this is the pocket piece here. This dress is supposed to have a notch. Didn't I notch it? If you didn't notch yours, go ahead and put your pattern piece back on and notch it. Yes, my notches are right here. So I'm going to line up my armhole and I'm going to notch back where I need to place that. That's why it's good to put your notches so you can see where you're notching up. Alright? So remove back that and I'm going to match up my notch with notch. So notches to notches we put in. So make sure you put your notches on your dress as well. And we're going to pin this pattern piece in place. Pinning this in place. Pinning this in place. And we're going to sew this from here right down to there. So you're going to get the next side. Get one more piece of pattern. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do the same thing. So get your pattern piece back, flip it the next way, and we're gonna put the notches. Line up the armhole for the pattern piece if you didn't put your notches, and we're gonna put our notches right here. Remove your pattern piece, and we're gonna put our notches in place. Notches to notches. If you don't do that, you're gonna get mix up, and sometimes you pocket higher or you pocket lower than the normal where it's supposed to be. So we're gonna pin this in place. Pin. We're making one go at this sewing machine. Pin this in place. Right, so our pocket, when it's done, it flip over. So this is the front. We finish with the front. So we're gonna rest the front aside, because one we're going at the sewing machine. Now you're gonna get the back. You're gonna get the back. Open up the back if you didn't have your notches on the back. Do the same. Get your pattern pieces. Line up the armhole like this, because I didn't put my notch. And now we're gonna place our notches where our pocket has to be. I like to use my red scissors. It's sharp, so it gives me a clean notch. And you line up your notches where the pocket has to be. So now you're gonna remove this. You're gonna get the remaining pocket. Open up your back. You're gonna open the back. We're gonna get a piece, one of the pocket, and now we're going to fit this notches to notches. You're gonna fit up this pocket. Make sure you line up your notches, and you're gonna pin. Pin the remaining piece of pocket right here. Notches. Marking out your notch does be always good. So now we're gonna go and we're gonna stitch this pocket. We're gonna stitch the pocket, and we're gonna stitch across the neck. So let's go and let's stitch that. Then we're gonna get this band, which is pattern piece number 6. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna remove this. We're gonna place these two bands together, which is this and this. Remember, we cut 2 pieces, right side to right side. Open it like this. Place this like that. And we're gonna stitch these 2 ends together. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna pin this 5/8 of an inch. We're gonna pin this. Let's say you don't know what 5/8 of an inch is. Let me show you what 5/8 of an inch is. Let me get my measuring tape. You get your measuring tape. I guess all who know for sew will know what 5/8 is. But let's say who don't know for sew. Now this is from here to here is 1 inch on your measuring tape. And so you're gonna take 5/8. Let's say you don't know about from 5/8. So let's say we put the end of the measuring tape right at the top of the end edge of the cloth, and you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this piece in between here, so This little line here is 5/8, so you mark out your 5/8, mark out your 5/8 right here, mark out your 5/8 right here, and you continue like that, and you connect your line. So when you go to the sewing machine, you're stitching on this 5/8 line right here. My machine have 5/8, so I don't have to worry about that. So we're gonna pin this, and we're going at the sewing machine. So let's go to the sewing machine and let's stitch up these pieces. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna get the belt first. We're gonna stitch the belt first in place. So remember, we pin the two belts together, so we're gonna get this belt that we pin across, and we're gonna stitch the 5/8 across. So let's go ahead and let's start stitching this together. So we're gonna place it under our sewing machine, and we're gonna sew this belt 5/8 seam allowance on your sewing machine. Look on your sewing machine, have 5/8 seam allowance, and we're gonna sew this belt in place. We're gonna put our pin, so we're gonna back stitch and use the color thread that your fabric matching thread to your fabric. So we're gonna sew that, and we're gonna take it out. Now my machine have a razor right here, a cutter, so I can cut my thread. So now when we finish stitch it, it would look something like this. So we will have one piece when we finish sewing. So we're gonna rest this aside, seeing that we finish sewing that belt. What we're gonna do, we're gonna get our back piece. This is the back piece that we have here. We're gonna get the back piece, and we're gonna sew this in place. So we're gonna place the pocket under the sewing machine, and we're gonna stitch this pocket in place. So you're gonna place your pocket under your sewing machine, and we only stitching by the circle of the pocket. That's what we're stitching. We have to stitch it because the instruction said, it says we need to stitch the pocket. It said we need to stitch your pocket, and we need to place the pocket at the circle. So we're gonna stitch this pocket in place, right? So let's go ahead and let's stitch this pocket. So we're gonna stitch our pocket. Let's raise up our machine, and we're gonna stitch our pocket in place. So we're stitching a 1/4 inch of our pocket. 1/4 inch we will stitch. So we're gonna look for the 1/4 inch on our sewing machine, and we're gonna stitch that 1/4 inch in place. So we back stitching, and we're gonna stitch that in place. Let me fix my pins. I don't want my pins on the hook, so I'm gonna stitch that. Back stitch. So when you finish stitching, your pocket's supposed to look like this. Attached very neat, like that. This is where we stitch the line. So we stitch the end of the pocket to the next end of the pocket. Repeat the same process with the other pockets. We're gonna stitch that 1/4 inch. Back stitch when you reach the end. So this is the back we finished stitching. So now we'll go for the front. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna finish stitch all the pockets. So we're gonna grab the front pocket, and we're gonna stitch down the front pocket 1/4 inch seam allowance. And we're gonna stitch that. Make sure your pocket line up properly, and we're gonna stitch. Back stitch. Back stitch when you reach the end also. But stitch the next pocket in place. We will stitch this next pocket in place. So this is the front we're working on, and we're working on the pockets. So we're going to place this 1/4 inch, and we're going to sew back stitch. Get your pocket in order. And use the end, back stitch as well. Take it out. So now that we finish stitching our pocket, we're going to go ahead and we're going to stitch this split. Now, we have to stitch this split across here. So we are not stitching it down. Let me show you. When you put it on here, we stitching this split across here. That's just to hold it in place, just the neckline to hold it in place. We are not stitching down the pleat here. We are stitching it across here. So let me show you. Place it on the sewing machine, and we'll take out our pins as we go. So we'll place the needle in the 4 split, and we'll stitch down a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So we'll just stitch the top, back stitch. I back stitch mine. It's just base across, but I like to hold my own from the start with a pin stitch. Take out your pins as you go. Don't stitch over your pins, or you could break your needle. So we're going to back stitch. Pull your pins out. Make sure you pleat them okay. Make sure the needle sink in the pleat before you remove the pins, because your pleat will be off. And now you continue. So we stitch our pleat, and I'm going to back stitch. So now you remove, and your pleat supposed to look like this. So you see it's just the top of the pleat stitch, just the top. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to the ironing board and we're gonna press this pleat down. So let's go to the ironing board. Let's get our ironing board and let's press our pleat down. Now I have my ironing board here. As I told you, I have my little ironing board. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna grab get the band for the pattern, the dress, and we're gonna cut out our thread. We're gonna open this band like this, and we're gonna press that. Now we press it. We're gonna press that, and now you're gonna fold your band like this. We're folding our band like this, even, and you're gonna press it. We have to go and stitch it, so make sure the band is even. Pressing our band like this. Let me just bring my iron across so it make it more easier for me. And we're gonna press this band. Make sure the band even. I'm gonna press it. Pressing the band, you'll be turning right side together. So we're pressing the wrong side for the band. So when we done stitch it, we're gonna turn this band together. Make sure this stitching line up. Stitch that, press that, sorry. Make sure line up even. I'm gonna press this. So now that we finished pressing, we're gonna rest this aside. Now we're gonna get our front piece, And we're gonna press this split down. You have to press this split in place. So all these split here, we're gonna press it. Now I have a tool. I have this hammer here that I will be using. This hammer that I would be using. I get this off of Amazon. I think you call this pressing seam or something like that you call it. I call it hammer, so I don't know, or just that tool that you need to press. This is like for press like skirt, hip, and these things like that. So I would place this under here and I would press this. And we will press these. Give it some steam. See how nicely that come out? And you press this in place. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna press all these in place here. Pressing all these in place. So when you're done, you have a nice neat pleat. Pressing all this in place. Press all these in place. All these be pressed when you finish. So when you finish, you're supposed to have a neat gather in front of your dress. So now the pocket, we're gonna press the seam towards the pocket. Pressing the seam towards the pocket. We're gonna do the same thing to the next side. Get the back, and we do the same thing to the back. Press the seam towards the pocket. So now, what we're gonna do, remove our ironing board, and we're gonna fit up this dress. So remove the seam roll you call it. So now get the name. Now come back to me. Remove your pattern piece. Lay your front to your dress down. Gonna lay our front of our dress down. Gonna lay that down. Front, let me move my iron. Gonna lay the front of your dress down. So you see how nice your front of your dress would look with your nice gather in front. And you want to get the back right side, the right side of the dress facing you. So this is my right side. I know it by the seam in the middle. That's why I did not press out the seam. You're going to get your back and you're going to lay it right side, the right side. The wrong side of the back would be facing you. And we will pin this dress up. So we will pin the pockets them in place. So you get the pocket, let the two pocket seam facing each other. So we'll match that up. And now you will grab some pins and we will pin this in place. Pinning that. Notches to notches on the front. Pin. Armhole to armhole. Pinning. Pockets. Same thing in the bottom. The seams would be matching. Make sure it line up properly. We have to get these two pocket seam in order, or as if not, you're gonna have a high and low pocket. So make sure the two seams are lying flat together. Through the seams together. Just need coming down a little more. Make sure your pocket line up neat. You get the seams. Make sure those seams line up. Now you'll need coming down a little more to this. Make sure you get your seam properly because you need your pocket to be even, and you pin. Don't worry if you have a little extra here, we could cut it out. In the bottom, a little extra might be in the bottom of your fabric, your dress. You can always cut that out. Pin. Need to pin our pocket in place. Pin in your pocket. And we're gonna stitch. Now we're gonna stitch from the armhole right here. We're gonna stitch from the armhole here, right down right here to this end here. We're gonna go across the pocket, come back around, and then we're gonna come here, stitch right here by this where we stop the stitch, and we're gonna go down, right down, and stitch that. Get pin the next side. In our armhole first. Finally, I'm going to the stitching. Get our pocket in place. The pocket seems them lying in one direction, so you can line up properly. Show the line in one direction. Pin. Take the bottom of the pocket. In the pocket. Continue the bottom of the dress. You get some pills. Okay. So we're gonna do the same thing. From this side, we're stitching right up here, stop here, turn our needle, bring the stitching right away around to our pocket, come back here, turn our needle again, and then we continue stitching up to the armhole. So now we're gonna pin. So this pocket pin together. So now we'll go to the sewing machine and we will sew this in place. So let's go and let's stitch this in place. So now that we finish pinning up our dress, what we're gonna do, we're gonna stitch our dress together. So now the first thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna grab one side. You grab whichever side you want, but I'm gonna start at my armhole side first. This is one side, and I'm going to stitch this down. So I'm going to get mine 5/8 seam allowance and place it under the sewing machine, as you guys see I'm doing here. 5/8 seam allowance. Look for the 5/8 on your sewing machine. It's right there. And now I'm going to sew down my pattern. Let me get my things, so my pin holder, so I can place my pin inside, and I'm going to sew this down. So I'm going to begin sewing, and I'm going to back stitch, and I'm going to stitch. Remember, sew this thing with matching thread. I'm going to sew my 5/8 down. So I'm about to reach my pocket, so I'm going to stop right at my pocket there, right at the first notch, and I'm going to raise my presser foot, and I'm going to swing my fabric around. So I'm going to swing my fabric like this. This is towards the pocket, and I'm going to stitch this pocket in place, same 5/8, and now I'm going to sew across, and I'm stitching my pocket now in place. So now we continue sewing, and I'm about to reach my pocket stop. So I'm going to stop, keep my needle in my fabric, lift my presser foot, and I'm going to turn my fabric, rest my presser foot down again, continue sewing across. Now I'm going to lift my presser foot, and I'm going to go down to my side. Continue sewing. Again. I'm going to sew down the side going to the bottom of my dress. Continue sewing till you reach the bottom of the dress. Back stitch, clip your thread. Now we have one side sewing down, so we're going to go and we're going to stitch the next side. So this is the next side from the bottom of my dress. Now I'm going to take it and we're going to continue doing the same thing. So we're going to sew down. Stop. Read up the coffee, don't you pocket. I'm going to swing this. I'm going to swing my dress and I'm going to continue my pocket. I'm pulling it so my hand gets stiff inside. Like this once. Just swing it like that. Swing it pocket. Stitch. I'm going to go to the back up. So I'm going to swing my dress now. So I'll be towards the arm. Swing my dress and now I'm going to go to the arm. Like this. Make my ease. So now that finish stitching over sides again. We have to turn this dress. So let's turn this dress over and let's put on the facing for the dress. Now that we finished stitching our dress, we're gonna turn our dress over. Now remember, your hand have to go in your pocket, so that's why I told you when you reach the top of the edge of the pocket, you stitch the edge of the pocket and you leave the piece and you turn down. Or if you stitch from, let me turn this over and show you what I mean. So the dress on the wrong side that we were stitching. So this is the pocket. So what we did, we stitch from the bottom of one side, stitch right up here, reach here, we stop, we turn around, we stitch our pocket back, reach here, and then we go up to the armhole. So the middle of the pocket leave open. So now that you get that clear, our back front of our dress look a little longer. Let's see. We're gonna trim that. Let's trim this off a little, just a little piece. Look a little longer. So we're gonna trim off this little piece. If your own is fine, you don't have to do this, but my own is a little longer, so I need to trim that off. So now I'm going to turn my dress over. I have my pockets in place. So now you'll go and you'll give your dress a good press. Finish off the inside if you have anything to finish it off with. Finish off your inside. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna get the facing. Now get the facing, rest your dress aside, get the facing. And we have some marking we need to put on this facing. So trim away these extra white piece on your facing. Trim away the extra pillar. Have some extra pillar here into facing that's showing out. So you need to trim this so you can see what you're doing. So we'll trim this. Do it for both sides. And now we're gonna pin this. We have have extra, you need to see what you're doing, so you need to trim this off. Pin this in place like that. Now we have some marking we need to put here. See, we have some small circle here. We need to put this circle in place, and we have this marking here. So we're gonna get this tool here. Gonna place this here. Get your seam roll, and we need to mark this. We need to mark these marking right here. Okay, you can do it on the inside, because when you turn this, you need to see it as well. You can hold it here, place this on the inside. Do the same thing. Place that here. So we need this. Right. So this is my marking. This is my mark. Have to go here. My mark dropped down a little too low. Make sure your thing line up. My mark going here. So this with this one. So now you will get this, open it up. You will get this piece. You need to do the same marking for the piece. Mark it. Remove it. And now we're gonna get this piece here. Now we're gonna get this piece of face in here, and we're gonna stitch these two together. Place your back down flat on the table. Place this here. These two is what we stitching in place, right? So we need to stitch this in place. So you place this right here, side to side, one side larger than one. So you place this like this. Let me see something here. The back and that's supposed to be matching up, so maybe I did not cut out the piece that I needed, so that's what happened. You have to cut out the back of this. We don't want any larger than any. So fold your thing back, place your pattern piece back on it, get the piece that you need, and we're going to cut this out now. So get your tracing wheel. You don't want to waste the sizes, and we're going to cut this. I'll put in a line on mine where I can see to cut it out because it is too wide. So you see my line is right here on it. You may can't see it, but I can see it. And I'm gonna cut out this. So it's supposed to be able to line up now. Remove this back, open this back, bring this. Let's see now. Right. So you see? So this what this supposed to look like this. So now we're gonna pin these in place. So you're pinning this. You're gonna come and you're gonna pin this. Notches to notches. Pinning. And we're gonna go to the sewing machine and we're gonna sew these two here together. So let's go and let's stitch this in place. So now that we finish pinning, we're gonna sew this armhole across. So we're gonna stitch 5/8 seam allowance. So I'm gonna turn my machine on and we're gonna sew the 5/8 in place. Back stitch. So we need 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Back stitch. Clip your thread. Do the next side the same way. And I look for 5/8 seam allowance on this. 5/8. Place here under your machine, look for the 5/8. And we're gonna sew this. Back stitch. Back stitch. So now I have an extra piece here I need to clip out. If you don't have that, you don't need to clip that. My piece was just a little larger at the end that I sew, so I need to clip out that little extra piece to line up it properly. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go and we're gonna pin this in place to the dress. So I'll just move this aside and I will show you how to pin this. Now you're gonna grab your dress. This is your dress, what your dress will look like. Your dress is on the right side here. This is the right side of the dress. You're gonna get this facing. You're gonna open this section here, right here, this section. Turn it over to the right side. So when you're done your facing, it would look like a top. Let's trim off this piece here. Trim your thread. That is the underarm. I trim off a little piece there. Open it out with my hand like I'm pressing it. When you finish, you will have it to the right side of the dress. Right side. Now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna pin this together, right? So we're gonna take our dress front, which is this piece here. We're gonna take our dress front and we're gonna pin this facing together. So let's go and let's pin this facing together on to the dress. So you're gonna get your dress after you've torn it over to the right side. You're gonna lay your dress down like this. Open it out. Now we didn't stitch the armhole left free. We're gonna get our facing and we're gonna put it over our dress like this. You're gonna get your facing. Get the back, turn it. Bring the back of this facing right here, right side to right side. So we're gonna pin this like this. Like that, you put your shoulder together. Now, remember we left a stopper, so we're gonna leave that stopper right there open. So we're gonna get our pin, and we're gonna pin from that come down. Right here, a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and we're gonna pin down. We're gonna pin, pin. We're gonna pin that. So we pin in the back right side together. When we reach this piece, we're gonna lift that open as well. So we pin in there. We're leaving this section open. So we're gonna pin down this over. So the dress, push your dress through here, through the front. So the facing would lie over the dress like this. So you have your dress lying over your facing. So now we're gonna get the armhole and we're gonna pin the armhole down. So you put your facing over the dress. We're gonna come and we're gonna stitch this down. Pin in. Pin. Notches to notches at the armhole. So you make sure you look and make sure it's the back armhole you're pinning on. Pin. So when you meet the side seam, you line up side seam to side seam. I like to line up mine. So when you turn it, it's going to be in line. You won't have a tough time pinning. So you want to pin that. Pin the front armhole. Now we're going to the front armhole. Pin that. And we're leaving this piece open. Leaving this piece here, right by the part we mark, open right here. You're gonna come around and you're gonna pin this armhole here. You have an extra piece here. Let me take off this extra piece of facing. So you need to trim the white interface so you can get to see where you're lining up your fabric. So I need this. I want to line this up. Pin. I'm going to pin this. Take off any extra piece of line facing you have there, interfacing the white piece, so you can see what you're doing. And we're going and pin this in place now. 1/4 inch seam allowance. So come up, line up this piece back. You have to back up one side the front. You can pin back here first, evenly. We got an extra piece of out so that we can lap this over to the arm front. Pin. Pin that. Go back over, back, pin back. Pin back in place. So we have an extra piece in front, we also have an extra piece in front as well over here. Let's go and see what's happening here. So what we're going to do is lose this one side from the top here. We need an extra piece. Pin. So have this working on here. So this piece here. So that's why we need to have extra piece. So we can work forward, front, pin to back. We still have the same line of maybe. We see next other side. Button here. So we have this side here. We have extra piece here. The top we have an extra piece back. That side. So we line that up here. I have a little extra piece out here. Little piece in the back extra. Not much. So we take it back. And put the extra piece, a little extra piece in the back. Right now, a little extra piece in the back here. So there we go. So we pin that in place. So we get a little extra piece. So now we've got the work machine. We'll stitch from here. We'll stitch from here. Right here. Straight down. Straight up. You will stitch from here right down, right away around the armhole. Then you come and we stitching from here right down, right away around the armhole. You come and stitch from here right away around the armhole to the next side, to the back. So let's go and let's sew this together. So now we're gonna stitch this. Now the extra piece that I end up with, I didn't cut out the shoulder piece. I did not cut out the extra, the shoulder piece that was the bigger size shoulder piece. That's why I end up with this extra piece here. So I'm cutting that out now. So let me just show you. If you end up with it, maybe you didn't cut out your right side. So now that I have my own together, what we're gonna do, we're gonna stitch the front of this dress first, because we have to leave an opening in the front. So the front of the dress we're gonna stitch first. So I have my front of my dress here. Now the lower where I have this X here, I'm going to leave below this X here, so open. I'm going to stitch from below, come right down. I have to leave this open so I can turn it, so that we can turn this. So we will start to sew this open. Let me turn my sewing machine around, you guys can see. So remember the left side of the lower front, we're going to leave below there open. So we're going to stitch from here, come right down. So let's start stitching. Now we're stitching this side here, we're stitching this side here first. This from the top here, we're stitching come right down. So put it under your sewing machine. And then we come right back to the back armhole. So we start from the front. If you notice, we start from the front. So I use this end here for the front right up, and then I come to the back armhole right away. So I come across the armhole right away around. So this is what this look like. Now we're gonna stitch the other side. So we're gonna start from this armhole here. We're gonna start from this armhole here, and we're gonna leave this below this notches here open. We're gonna leave below here open. So we're gonna stitch. Let me show you what it look like. So this is the back armhole. We start from right here, and we stitch right over to this armhole here. This is what you see. So right up here stitch. So now we're gonna go and we're gonna stitch from below here right down to the next side where we left, where we reached to the remember we had one of this over the next side, so we're gonna stop right here too. So let's go. So we're stitching from below here. Let me show you what it look like. Cut your thread. So this what it look like. So we start from this end with this circle here. If you notice, you see where my stitches stop right here, and it come right round. It come right round. So this is one side, and this is the other side. So it come right round for stop here. So you see where it start from. So it started from right here. This is where it start from. So now, and then it stop here. So we have these two sides. If you look at it, see where the circle is. This one, the stitch start from here. This one, the stitch start from right here. So the two front, the stitch with the X's, the stitch will be starting lower down. So now we're going to stitch this back. Now we have to start this back from right here, from this marking that we have here. We have to stitch from here, come right away around to the next marking that we have here. So we can put this armhole together. We're going to stitch from here, right here, right here, right here. That's it. Raise, and stitch it. This stitch off, you see there, when my back line, all marking, you need to stop so that it can fold in right here. You stop and say, okay, stitch. If you don't what it look like. So this is what it's supposed to look like. So you see where I stop my stitching right here. See where I stop my stitching right here, and this one right here. So I didn't bring it all the way up because we have to turn this. So let's go and let's turn this over and let's see what it look like. So after you finish sewing your pieces them together, remember I told you we're leaving this piece open. Let me mark it for you. So I stitch from this X right here, from this X right here, I stitch from that X there, and I leave that open, right? I stitch from this X here, I have an X here, and I leave that open, and I stitch right away around, and I come to the next X right here, and I stop right there. Now for this side, I continue from the top right down from the top, crossing the armhole, go to the back armhole right, and stop right here. Stop right there, it have a marking. So on this side, I continue from here and I mark right down, stop there, right? So then from this side, I come right down again. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna have to turn this, and we're gonna fit this together. So let's turn this over. I'm gonna turn this over. So turn it over. I'm gonna turn it over to the right side. Let's see what this dress look like. I'm gonna turn it over. Right. Turn it over. So this is what your back will look like. Now let's go to the front, and let's turn the front over. So we leave the front opening. Turn the front over. Get something and push the front out. That's the front. To turn the front over. This is the front, what the front will look like. Now we need to stitch this facing down. So we're gonna sew this facing down a little just now. Turn it over. This is the front. Turn this to inside facing. Turn the facing inside. Make sure it come out neat and nice. So this is what your back would look like. Turn this out. Turning all this out here. Turn this out neat and nice. Turning this out neat and nice. So we have this nice finished facing here, the inside. We're gonna hook this up. We gotta stitch the facing down. So your dress is supposed to looking like this, very neat and nice. So now we're gonna go and we're gonna stitch this facing down to the inside. So let's go and let's stitch our facing down. So now I'm going to stitch my facing down. So you grab whichever side you want to stitch on first. I'm going to do my back first, right down to the thing, and you put the facing towards you stitch in the seam allowance onto the facing side of the don't stitch it onto your dress, you're stitching it to the facing, the turning inside. So we're going to place this under the sewing machine. Place this under the sewing, stitch it down as far as possible. And the seam allowance, for me, I stitching my seam allowance going towards the right of me. Right, so it will be go on the facing, not onto my dress. So I'm going to stitch this a 1/4 inch seam allowance down onto the facing. So my facing will be stitching to my right. It will be facing my right. And I would stitch this down as far as possible. So the seam allowance is easy. Inside, my facing, I'm stitch onto the facing. So you see my facing right on me, my seam allowance. Place it back on the machine. My facing is facing right on me. I will stitch this up right. So I stitch this allowance, I stitch facing address right up. I'm stitching towards the facing. I'll show you how to cut the finish. So keep the facing inside of the dress. That's how I go. I'll take it up. So we have one seam. So I'm going to go from the back of the face now. I'm going to stitch it to the right. I'm going to put it back on the sewing machine. That's the important part because remember now, stitching this facing the dress. So right now, the shoulder of the seam is close up to so it's as far as possible as you can. I'm going to show you how to do that. If you want something, you can turn it and show you. So I'm stitching on the facing. Far as I will go. Stitch up. Hold it in place. As far as I can go. Make sure it's so I have to change the frame. And just my so I have to put in about in my machine. So this is my button. I'm going to place and I'm going to continue sewing my facing. So let's continue sewing my facing. Place my facing on the machine and I'm going to continue sewing. So you need to place the skate inside of the dress. Stitching as far as possible. Stitching through. Stitching as far as possible. Stitch it up. I'm going to work this over the plate. You can see my machine. So this is it. So you see, this is where I stitch my facing right here. You guys can see. I hope you guys can see right here. So what I do, I flick my facing up this way and I stitch my seam on the facing of itself. So let's go and try to put this dress now. Stitch the arm together. So now that you stitch your facing, so this is what my facing look like. So for keep my facing inside, I have to stitch it down. The seam allowance is what we sew together to keep the dress. So the seam allowance now would be sewing to this side of the facing. So this would be the side of the facing my seam allowance would be sewing. So I place my dress under my sewing machine, bring my facing out, get the seam allowance from this side and face it towards this side of the facing, and then I sew a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So hold the seam onto the facing so that when I put this inside, it won't come out back as it was doing, right? So this what, so when you don't stitch, your stitch supposed to be on the inside of the dress, not on the outside of the dress. So now we're gonna turn this, fix this. Now you're gonna go and you're gonna press this down. Go and give this dress a good press. So let's get the ironing board and let's press that in place. Let me show you how to press that. Get my iron, get my ironing board, and we're gonna press this. So now make sure all your seams them is out. Make sure all your seams out, neat and nice. I like to get this seam roll and I like to put this like that. I like to stitch this. Make sure all this is out. So when you're done, the facing will stay inside of your dress. So it will be neat and nice. So you press this down very neat. Make sure that come out neat. So it will be neat. Now you get to the armhole. And now we turn this neat inside like that. And we're going to press down this armhole neat. So the stitch line would be inside here. So we don't have any stitch line on the outside. Do the same thing, fix your armhole properly. Place that. And we stitch in. We press in, sorry. Make sure you get this out neat. You want it to be neat because the first thing people would be looking at is the feet. I always sketch the bad part. Fix that. You need to fix these. Make sure this come neat and nice because this is the part of people eye would be on. To see how you finish that. Stretch it out. That's why I like this seam roll. I could stretch this out and press this so that when you press it would come out. So we bring this out neat and press in. So this would be on the inside of the dress. Press this down. Do the same thing to the next side. Make sure it come out. Press this down. Press that. Turn this in properly. Press. So you need to get this part here very neat. Remember, this don't have sleeve. So you need to get this neat. Press this. Now we're going to the front and we're doing the same thing. Bring out the front neat. Pressing the pleat down. Very neat. Fold the pleat in the corner where it's supposed to be. And we're going to press that. Very nice. Make sure you pleat them line up properly the way it's supposed to be, and you press it. Press the front down. Same thing with this side. So when you're done, you have a nice neat finish with this dress. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna put this together. So we're gonna get this, you see this piece here, and this is what we're gonna put together as this here coming over. So I'm going to show you how to do this. So we're going to turn this dress over like this. Turn the dress over. And we're going to hook this up. So we need to hook this piece with this piece. that open here, right? These two open here. Remember we left a piece open, so we're gonna open this piece here, right here, and we open in this piece here, right here, and we stitch in these two pieces together. So you stitch in here. So we pin in here. So it's gonna be neat when we finish. Pin in right here. Next piece, and we stitch in one continuous stitching. So open this piece back here, and we get in this piece here, right here, and we pin in it. Pin in. Pin. So we stitching from one end, come right around to the next end. And we done, we're going to turn it to the inside. It would go inside so it can set up. When it go inside, it would pin properly. But we have to set that up first. So what we're going to do, we're going to get the next side, do the same thing, open it out, open out, and we're going to stitch. Stitch in here. Pin. Get the next side, bring it to the next arm, next shoulder. Make sure it open out properly. And we're gonna stitch. So that's why we leave those pieces out. So now we're gonna go to our sewing machine and we're gonna stitch from one end, come across to the next end. So let me just move this aside. Let's go and let's sew this in place. So now I'm at the sewing machine, and now we're gonna stitch this. So we're gonna get one end for the shoulder, place it under our sewing machine, and we're gonna stitch the next end in place. So let's get it so we can stitch this in place. Hold on, one pin drop out from me, so I need to place that back together, the pins drop out. So we're gonna get one end and we're gonna sew that in place. Put it under. So we're stitching the shoulder in place now. So where you pin, you sew 5/8 seam allowance, and we're stitching this in place. So I'm going to stitch as I go, stitch wrong. You have to help it around. So we're going to stitch this shoulder in place. It might be tough at this time, but you have to try and get it to stitch. And I'm going to raise my needle and I'm going to cut. So this is what it would look like. So from one end right away. So when we're done, we're going to turn this over like that. So this coming on the inside of it. So you see you have no raw edge on the outside. The raw edge would be on the inside and it would be very neat. So we're going to push this inside. Let me stitch the next one and let me show you what it would look like on the inside and the outside where you don't have any raw edge. So we're going to stitch the next side the same way. Let's get the next side and sew it in place. So the next side in place. So we're going to stitch that in. Back stitch one end to the next end. So we're going to the next end now. We're gonna sew it in place. We have the next end now that we at, and we're gonna stitch this next end back stitch. And now we're gonna turn this, and I'm going to show you what this look like right now. So let me put this machine aside right here so we can show you right here what it look like. So this is what we stitch. We stitch one end here, we come across to the next end of the shoulder. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna turn this end to the inside here. So now you turn the end to the inside, you're left with this little open piece. So this, what we press going into this open piece here. When we done, we base stitch it, and it would be very neat. So you don't have no raw edge inside, you don't have any raw edge outside. So both would look like that. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna turn this, and let me show you what the shoulder look like. So this, what your dress supposed to look like. So you see, you have a neat shoulder inside and outside. So later on, we're gonna tack this in place. We're gonna tack this in place later on. So what we're gonna do, we gotta do the hem now for this dress. So what we're gonna do, you wanna get your hem of your dress whichever side, and you're going to fold like I want a 1.5 inch to 2 inch hem. So you're going to get a ruler, and the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna measure, we're gonna fold in one part of this like a little 5/8 half inch seam allowance to a 1/4 inch. You're gonna get your ruler and you're gonna measure 2 inches from that folding in. So you're going, when you fold, you're gonna left with 1.5 inches. So let's turn in 1.5 inches. So I'm going to fold my own like this first, and then I'm going to measure the 1.5 inches. So get your ruler like that. See if you have 1.5 inches. I have it here. And now I'm going to get my pins, and I'm going to pin my 1.5 inches like that. Now I'm going to go around to the next side of the side seam, and I'm going to do the same thing. Fold in a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch, how much you wish. And now I'm going to fold together 1.5 inch seam allowance that I require. Let me see if I have it. No, I don't. And I'm going to put in a little more. Measure now. Still don't have it. Let me see now. I have it now. And I'm going to pin this in place. So now I have these two side seam pin for the seam allowance. So this 1.5 seam allowance going to automatically fold in the front and in the back. So now I'm going to pin this in place. So I'm going to fold in this raw edge. So I don't have to come and measure, because if I measure, I is 1.5 inches. That's why I fold the two side seam in first. Make sure I get the right measurement of the two side seam. If your back had a back seam, you could do the same thing, and it would eventually fold in automatically, and you're pinning this dress in place. So you're pinning it. There's the hem of the dress, we hem in the hem of the dress. Make sure you get 1.5 inches. I do. And you fold and you pin. So you're turning in 1/4 inch first, and then go and look for your 1.5 inches. And you measure, you pin. Measuring 1.5 inches. Till when you come to the next pin. 1.5 inches. Is till when we come to the next spinning of the dress. So you have to measure this until you get the 1.5 inch pinning. Measure it until you reach that, so that we could you can get that for pin your dress properly to see how it look, right? So place your dress down on the table, and you get your ruler and you measure the 1.5 inches. You measure your 1.5 inches to see what it look like. You turn up the 1/4 inch under, and then we're gonna measure the 1.5 inches for see if we have 1.5 inches. If you don't have it, put it out until when you get the 1.5 inches. Grab your pin and you pin it in place. Now that we have that, you're going to continue doing the same thing. You're measuring and you're pinning. My own already folding automatically because I pin the side of my dress first. So we're measuring, make sure you have that 1.5 of it, and you pin. Come back to the other side, do the same thing. You're folding your 1/4 inch first, and then measure for your 1.5 inches, or your 1/2 inch, or how much ever you folding. I fold 1/4 inch, and then come to the end, and you pin the last piece here. So you pin. So when you're done, you pin right away around your dress. So now we're gonna stitch this dress in place. So let's stitch this dress in place. Hem the hem of the dress in place. So I'm starting from a side seam. So any side seam you can start from. Put your dress under, and we're stitching right at the edge of the dress. So we're hemming this dress, and I'm going to hem my dress in place. So we start your back stitch. So we back stitching and we hemming the dress in place. Continue hemming your dress. So you're going to hem it until you reach the next side. So remember, we stitching, we hemming the dress and we stitching down at the edge of the hem of the dress. The edge on the edge. So it could look neat and nice. So your back stitch when you reach the other end, and your hem supposed to look like this. Very neat. See? Very neat. So there, this is what it will look like. You barely see the stitch on the next side. So this is your dress that finished here. Now we're going to stitch the band, and then I'm going to put this dress on and let you see what it look like. So now let's go ahead and let's get the band and let's stitch the band. So for the band of the dress, remember we press this this dress band. So what we're gonna do, you could pin your band if you want. You pin that, you put a couple pin on it. Because we're going and sew down this side of this. We're going to sew this side right down a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Now I don't have to pin mine, but if you want, you can pin yours. Put a couple of pin inside to hold it in place. So now we'll go to the sewing machine and we'll stitch from one end right down. We're stitching from this end here, stitching across this end here, 5/8 seam allowance, come right down, turn our needle and we're coming down. So when we reach in the middle of the band, the middle of the band is where we stitch. You stop right here, and then when you stop there, take your needle out, cut your thread, and we come in and we start in. If you want, you can start from this end, come right down, or you come and you start from this end right down to meet the other opening. So let's go ahead and let's stitch this in place together. So now I'm at the sewing machine, and now we're going to stitch this band in place. So I'm starting from one end of the band. So I'm starting from this end and I'm going to come straight down. So place it under your sewing machine and let's stitch that in place. And now we'll stitch half inch, back stitch, and stitch. Stop about half inch before you turn. Put your needle down, lift your presser foot, turn your belt, and now we're going to continue stitching right down until we reach the center. You don't have to pin yours, that's why I pressed mine so it could hold in place. So now we'll come into the center of this belt. That is where we stitch the two pieces together and we're going to stop. Right, we're going to stitch over the piece that we stitched and we're going to stop an inch away from there. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take our needle out our fabric, cut our thread, and we're going to swing this belt around and we're going to start from the next side. So we're going to start from this side, come right away down just like how we did the first section. So we're going to stitch, back stitch, now we done sew our band. I sew down the edge here, this edge, sew it down and I go straight down. Straight down, I stitch down. I stop across here, stop my needle, back stitch, and then I come from this edge here. Come from that edge, stitch right away down here, right down, and then I left the 1 inch opening right between here. See, no thread is in here because I leave that there. Now I need to turn that over. So the easy part for me, I find the other day, was getting a pencil like this, and the pencil have a point, so I just put it in between there and I insert it into the fabric. This was the easiest part for me, and I just turn my belt over like that till I meet the inside, the opening, put the pencil through, and then I pull this belt through this opening here. I do the same thing with the next side. And then I pull this belt opening here. I push that through there, tube it through till you reach your next side opening. Find the opening for the next side, tube that through, and then you pull this through here. You pull this through, and this is what my belt. Now I don't hem my opening because that's why I leave a 1 inch. I just leave it like that. So now you're gonna get your belt out neat like how we press it. Make sure it come out very neat. Go and give this belt a good press. Try your dress on, see how it look. Now I'm going to go and give my dress a good press. I'm going to try it on and then I will show you the finished look. So let me show you how I press my belt. So I make sure that I get everything out. Make sure my belt end come out properly. You need to get it out so it can lie properly. If you need to get something and pick it out, you need to get it out like that. Pick it out. And now you press your belt, sorry. Make sure everything come out neat. And you need your belt to lie flat and nice. All must be even. And you press your belt out. Give it a good steam. Press your belt. Do the same thing with this side. Make sure it come out easy, even. Take it out. And that's how you press your belt. Now go press your dress. Now for your dress, you need to clean up all the thread that you have hanging. Clean up all those loose thread that we have. You need your dress to be neat. Clean up all. Now this piece here, I would still hem this piece later. You just get a needle and thread and you just base stitch in between. I will do it with a pin for demonstration. And you just grab a little piece in between here, a little piece. You aren't putting it on the outside, you're barely picking it up like that. A little piece we picking up. Pick up a little piece so the pin is not showing on the outside. Pick up a little piece on the inside. Do the same thing. A little piece, little piece, little piece, little piece until, and you pull the needle through until you close up this little piece, so you won't see any stitch on the inside nor the outside. So the stitch would be in between here. So that's how we will stitch that. My own, I will do it later. So just demonstration, I'll just show you how to do it. So now we're gonna trim off these threads. Both sides you're gonna do the stitch into, right? So now go and press your dress and then put on your dress, see how your dress is, and I will come back and I will show you. So here is the finished look of the dress. This is what the dress look like. This is what the dress look like. Put it on so you guys can see. Walk over here. This is what the dress look like. So this is the finished look of the dress. You have the pockets. Let me just slant this that you can see. This is the pocket of the dress. The pockets. This is the band. This is the length of the dress that I lengthened. That's why I lengthened mine, because it was too short. So this is the finished look of the dress. I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial and you have a wonderful day. So this is the finished look of the dress, and I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And if you sew any, let me see. So enjoy, make your own, try it on, see what it look like. If you need to take it in, take it in. So I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Enjoy.